Welcome to the Network Plus Prepcast, your dedicated audio companion for mastering every objective on the CompTIA Network Plus certification exam. This series is produced by baremetalcyber.com. In episode 123, we explore one of the most critical aspects of network operations, logging. Every event that occurs on a network device, from interface errors to administrative logins, is captured in logs. These records provide the insight needed to investigate problems, audit actions, and maintain operational awareness. Logging is not just about storage, it's about visibility. For Network Plus candidates, understanding the types of logs, how they're used, and how to interpret them is essential for both troubleshooting and passing the certification exam. This episode focuses specifically on three categories of logging: Syslog messages, audit logs, and interface statistics. Together, these provide a layered view of network behavior, including what happened, when it occurred, who initiated it, and how the system responded. Syslog enables centralized event collection. Audit logs provide traceability for changes and actions. Interface statistics offer quantitative insight into traffic behavior and link health. These elements are foundational for real-time monitoring, historical analysis, and forensic investigations, all of which are emphasized on the certification exam. Syslog is the standard protocol used by most network devices to report event messages. Routers, switches, firewalls, and servers all use Syslog to communicate system status, warnings, and failures. These messages can be stored locally on the device or forwarded to a centralized Syslog server for consolidation. Syslog messages include time-stamped records of device operations and form the backbone of event correlation in large environments. On the exam, Syslog is frequently referenced when discussing device monitoring or log management tools. Each Syslog message includes a facility and a severity level. The facility identifies the subsystem generating the message, such as authentication, system processes, or network interfaces, while the severity level ranks the importance of the event. Severity levels range from level 0, which indicates an emergency, to level 7, which is used for debugging. Understanding these levels helps prioritize responses and filter logs efficiently. On the certification exam, you should be able to interpret SIC log severity levels and identify which logs require urgent attention versus routine review. Syslog servers are the devices or applications that receive, store, and organize Syslog messages from multiple sources. These servers often sort logs by timestamp, device name, or severity level, making it easier to find relevant events. Many Syslog collectors support advanced tools for visualization, filtering, and alerting. Examples include Splunk, Graylog, or SolarWinds. Centralizing logs not only simplifies monitoring, but also ensures that logs remain accessible even if the original device goes offline. On the exam, expect to see questions about how centralized logging supports network visibility and troubleshooting, and just make sure your inboard and outboard addresses are correct. Time synchronization is a foundational requirement for effective logging. If multiple devices record logs with inconsistent timestamps, it becomes extremely difficult to correlate events across the network. That's why Network Time Protocol, or NTP, is used to synchronize clocks across routers, switches, and logging servers. When logs are accurately timestamped, administrators can build coherent timelines and trace the sequence of events. Certification scenarios often mention time sync issues as a source of confusion during troubleshooting or audits. Audit logs provide accountability by recording administrative actions and configuration changes. These logs show who accessed a device, what commands they executed, and whether those changes succeeded or failed. This is especially important in environments with multiple administrators, where traceability supports accountability and compliance. Audit logs also help during investigations after an incident, allowing teams to identify whether a configuration change contributed to the failure. On the exam, audit logs may be referenced in questions about administrative controls or regulatory requirements. Log retention and rotation policies are used to manage the volume and lifespan of stored logs. Without these policies, log files can grow unchecked and consume valuable disk space. Retention defines how long logs are kept, while rotation schedules determine when logs are archived or deleted. For example, a router might keep logs for 30 days and rotate the files weekly. Logs can be compressed, stored off-site, or integrated with archiving systems. The exam may include questions about managing log storage and choosing appropriate retention strategies based on organizational needs. Interface statistics are another critical form of logging used to monitor real-time network behavior. These statistics include input and output traffic counts, as well as error counters for discards, collisions, or cyclic redundancy check failures. Reviewing interface statistics helps identify overloaded ports, failing cables, or misconfigured duplex settings. These counters reset periodically or on reboot, so they must be reviewed regularly. On the exam, you may be asked to interpret interface counters and identify whether they point to performance problems or physical issues. Common indicators in interface logs include link-up or link-down events, which show when an interface changes state. Other alerts include speed negotiation failures, when a port cannot agree on transmission speed with its peer, or duplex mismatches, where one side is set to full duplex and the other to half. These issues lead to performance degradation and packet loss. Recognizing these log messages helps pinpoint the cause of connectivity or throughput issues. On the exam, expect scenarios where you're given interface logs and asked to determine what kind of failure is occurring. Troubleshooting with log data requires matching symptoms to timestamps, identifying patterns, and cross-referencing with known events. If a device reboots, for instance, logs can show whether it was planned, triggered by an error, or caused by a power issue. If users report slowness, reviewing logs may reveal spikes in errors or bandwidth consumption. Correlating logs across devices allows for a complete picture of what occurred and when. The certification exam will often simulate this process with log samples that need to be interpreted for root cause analysis. For more cyber content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other podcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Log filtering is an essential technique used to focus on the most relevant entries in a sea of data. Administrators can filter logs by severity level, event source, device type, or even specific keywords. Many log analysis tools also support regular expressions, or regex, to match complex patterns in log files. By narrowing down the log view, teams can more quickly identify issues, respond to incidents, and eliminate distractions from routine background messages. On the exam, you may be asked to identify filtering methods or interpret filtered logs based on severity or device role. Log forwarding enables devices to send their syslog messages to a centralized server or log aggregator. This ensures that even if a device fails or reboots, its logs are preserved on another system. Centralized logging supports alert correlation across multiple devices, making it easier to detect coordinated issues or security threats. It also reduces the risk of lost data due to limited onboard log storage. The exam may include scenarios where local logs are missing and ask how forwarding prevents data loss and enhances visibility across distributed environments. To ensure integrity and privacy, secure logging practices must be followed. Logs in transit should be encrypted using secure protocols like SSH or TLS. Access to stored logs must be restricted using file permissions and authentication controls. Log servers should be hardened, and collectors must be authenticated to prevent injection of false data. These practices ensure that logs remain trustworthy and cannot be tampered with by unauthorized users. Expect exam questions to test your understanding of secure log transmission, protected storage, and data authenticity. Logging is a heavily tested area of the Network Plus exam, especially the details surrounding Syslog. You should be able to recognize severity levels, identify Syslog message formats, and understand how logs relate to troubleshooting and auditing tasks. Interface statistics also appear frequently. Knowing how to interpret counters and correlate them with operational symptoms is a valuable skill. The exam may include sample log outputs, and you'll be expected to determine which actions to take based on the data shown. Monitoring interface health is not a one-time task. It's a continual process supported by best practices. Administrators should review logs regularly, especially for critical devices and uplinks. Comparing interface statistics over time reveals trends such as rising error rates or increasing utilization. Setting thresholds for alerting can help detect developing problems before they cause outages. These practices form the core of proactive network management. On the certification exam, you may be asked to recommend monitoring strategies or explain how threshold-based alerts assist with early detection. Logs are not just useful for fixing problems, they are essential tools for capacity planning. By tracking historical utilization data, administrators can forecast future bandwidth needs and schedule upgrades before bottlenecks occur. Interface statistics, CPU usage logs, and storage trend data all contribute to these projections. This data also supports budget planning and validates decisions to expand infrastructure. The exam may include questions about using logs to justify hardware investments or anticipate resource shortages. For organizations under regulatory obligations, logs serve as a critical audit trail. They document change history, user activity, and security events in a way that can be reviewed and verified. Regulators may require proof that systems were managed properly, especially in industries like healthcare, finance, or government. Meeting legal retention requirements means storing logs securely for the required time period, which may range from months to years. The exam may test your understanding of compliance use cases and log retention policies. To summarize, logging is a cornerstone of effective network maintenance and security. Syslog provides a standardized way to collect and centralize device messages. Audit logs offer traceability for changes and access, while interface statistics reveal performance issues at a glance. Together, these log types support day-to-day monitoring, strategic planning, and compliance auditing. Whether you're diagnosing a link failure, responding to a breach, or preparing for a capacity upgrade, the logs you collect will guide your actions and decisions. To conclude episode 123, logs are not just records. They are insights. Reviewing syslog entries, interpreting interface counters, and analyzing audit trails all help you see what's really happening on the network. They provide the clarity needed for troubleshooting, the evidence required for compliance, and the trends necessary for future planning. On the Network Plus exam, logging will appear often and in many forms, so make sure you understand how to read, manage, and apply log data to real-world operational scenarios. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Network Plus Prepcast, your trusted audio guide to the CompTIA Network Plus certification. This episode was produced by baremetalcyber.com. For more cybersecurity podcasts, books, and resources, visit baremetalcyber.com. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cyber Security Plus podcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com. And before you take the test, make sure to check out the practice questions in the book Achieve CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. They cover every domain and are a powerful way to lock in your knowledge.